revised from my ways of generation of the chain of command and the authority in charge and the positions of power.
Yeah.
Small revisions that's happened, which I can break those down as well. And yeah, we're very structured, we're very militant, but the worst aspect about
who's weird?
politics
He
is
said
that
we're
kill our
very
almost
militant,
anybody
we're very
else. I
structured.
think that's what I needed to highlight on YouTube.
You're not
because
part of
there's
the
too much
weird.
glorification
You
on
understand?
YouTube. I can't.
Putting content up there to risk your life, and knowing that the content he puts up is going to put his life in jeopardy. That's not for educational purposes, man. You know what I'm saying? That's for the bag. Just like how a bunch of weirdos do some weird things to get a viral video, to get some views. That's Fire 9J. He's willing to talk about whatever to get the bag, right? So it's not about educational purposes, because if somebody's doing something for educational purposes, they're not going to do something to the extent of where their life's going to be at risk for talking about something. Man, you already know what it is, man. John Diesel, man. Again, I ain't fucking with it, man. Yeah, so I got a glimpse of this today, man. Fire 9J. Look, man, straight to it. Fire 9J has a channel, Renegade Media. Everybody knows because everybody tunes in. You know what I'm saying? I've watched this channel a few times. When a couple of the headlines had caught my attention, when he tells a story about something that I might have heard something about this story, or somewhere along the line, I went through a similar situation, or somebody that I know went through a similar situation. So I've tuned into his channel. I even commented on his channel before, right? But listen, if anybody had a short career in the gang life, it is him, Fire 9J. Because he's still a young cat today. So, and I understand that he was involved in politics. And from my understanding, he did most of his politicking out of state. Right? Just like some of these other content creators that been politicking out of state. Oklahoma, Arizona. I don't think Fire 9J's been on that level before. He might have, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know too much about his whole background, his whole story. Like I said, I watched this channel when I tuned into some of the stories that he's given of secondhand stories, right? Or even some of the stories that he's been involved in, right? He's not an NF. He's never became one. And it's crazy because I was gonna do a video about that because I met some legends from the Red Team. When they was down in Santa Rita, ADSEG, in the hole, when they was fighting Black Widow. I've told y'all at the beginning of my YouTube channel, when I first started my channel, and even along the way, I've mentioned a few times that I used to conversate with a man named Pinky, right? Who's a general for the Red Team, right? For the legends from that side, right? And I met a few others, like Cornelio, right? And Mikeo and a couple others, right? Because when they were fighting Black Widow, they had housed them in the same building as the Border Brothers from Oakland, right? The Border Brothers from Oakland had their own house. I opened it up, right? Because I'm the one that kicked off that riot versus the Upstate Southsiders, right? And we got our own house because of that. So they ended up putting the legends from the Red Team in the same building, right, with us. No, we weren't programming together. No, we weren't coming out running hot water for them. No, but we would communicate through kites. And like I said before, we would get escort to visiting together. If your last name or if you're visiting time landed at the same time as one of them, you'd go to visiting with them. They put you in different visiting rooms. But like I said before, in Santa Rita, in Max, the visiting rooms, there's a piece of glass in between each visiting room where you can visually see the person in the next room over, right? So communication is very easy. And I've had lots of conversations with Pinky when we were waiting on our visitor, or when we were waiting on the escort back to the building from visiting, right? Because sometimes they would take us 30 minutes before and leave us in the visiting room, or they would leave us 30 minutes after the visiting. Waiting on escort took 30 minutes sometimes, right? Or even one time there was an incident that happened, they left us up there all day. And we was up there from midday till dinner time. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting up there lost. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the type of shit they do. So I've met a couple generals and a few high-ranking members of the Red Team, right? The legends, right? And just like I said a story about the homie Smiley from Flores who saved my life in prison, I want to say that Pinky saved my life too one time. A situation that happened with the Northerners in Tracy Reception, right? I think I might have touched a little bit on it, but I'm gonna do a story on that, on how Pinky saved my life, right? How his influence and how his power was able to push some of these gentlemen back. You know what I'm saying? Because of who I am, right? Not really because of who I was, but how I carried myself and how I used to program in prison, right? Because I didn't act like I was just that number one killer on the yard. Nah. I was me. But look, the thing about me, I've always had the dope in prison. If I wasn't getting it in through visiting, I was getting it on the yard, right? But that's a story for another day. So, when this dude, Fire 9J, titles himself as a NF shot caller, it's like, for those that know, it's and I'm sure that according to another outlet, they said that it's an error. The dude should have never had headlined it like that. But you can tell by the little bit that I put at the intro, how he says, "Oh, we're very militant, we're very structured."
Yeah, we're very structured. We're very militant.
He's trying to include himself as part of that group when he's no longer part of that group. So it clearly shows, it's clear as day, that he still, deep down inside, he still feels that, he still represents that or wishes he could be part of that, right? He claims to say that he does this for educational purposes and he's trying to guide the youth in another way. Bullshit. He done took it so far. He knows, and he knows he's rattled some feathers on the street. He knows that he done tickled a few motherfuckers, right? He knows that he's pissed a few people off by some of the content that he's put up, right? Putting content up there to risk your life, and knowing that the content he puts up is gonna put his life in jeopardy. That's not for educational purposes, man. You know what I'm saying? That's for the bag. Just like how a bunch of weirdos do some weird things to get a viral video, to get some views. That's Fire 9J. He's willing to talk about whatever to get the bag, right? So it's not about educational purposes, because if somebody's doing something for educational purposes, they're not going to do something to the extent of where their life's going to be at risk for talking about something, man. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying, man. Because like I said, look, everybody in prison knows that social media exists. Everybody knows, all factions know that there's solid people on social media doing content, right? But everybody also knows that there's limits to what we can and can't say on YouTube. Well, he's went past beyond those limits, right? Like one of the other outlets said that he's already a targeted man, right? So this little headline of him being an NF shot caller, that's not going to make things any better or any worse. With that title or not, he's still a wanted person, right? If somebody catches a hold of him, it's going to be lights out. He knows that. He knows that he's taken it that far, right? He knows that he's playing with fire. He knows that he's walking on thin ice. He knows that his numbers might be counted. His days might be counted, right? Because it could happen on any moment, right? Because he has done some foul stuff. He has said some disrespectful whether it's the truth or not, but he's said some negative stuff about these factions, right? And I just feel like he's pissed a lot of people off, right? But it's not my matter. It's not my issue, right? All I'm saying is that he knows where he stands, right? So with this, the Connect, what's the name? The Connect Pod, whatever. With them headlining this and titling it Nuestra Familia Shot Caller, all that's gonna do is boost his image a little bit and get more followers and more viewers from the people that don't really know, right? Because there's millions and millions of people that don't know the lifestyle. They only know what they see on YouTube, right? And they watch all the gang channels because it's very intriguing. A lot of these gang stories, but a lot of this shit is bullshit, right? So, and all of us that's been to prison and we know what that level 4 life is about, and we've been to the back and we know what politics is. We know that a lot of the shit he be doing is bullshit, right? We know, for example, the Connect Pod, we know that headline is bullshit, right? He's not one, he's never been one, right? But he's enjoying all of this, and you can tell by the way. And I'm not trying to compare him to the mob spot, right? Because Boxer Enriquez, he also seek attention, right? 5'9" still seeks attention. He still wants to be recognized. He's still an influencer. He still wants to be an influencer, right? And he can't be a leader on the street, and he can't be a leader in prison anymore. But he's a leader on this YouTube shit because he's got all these followers, right? He's an influencer, right? So that, to him, that's more than enough, right? To be recognized as this ex-gang member, to him, that feeds his high, right? Feeds his ego, right? For people to recognize him as this dude that used to be part of this organization, right? Like I said before, I don't know. I know he was given some type of position out of state, and I don't know how far he got in California, doing time in California prisons, because it's a big difference. Going to do time out there, and I want to say that he probably was part of that first wave of inmates that went out there. I know Santo G's been out there. When I was in Salinas Valley, my cellie was Dillinger from Drifters, right? As a matter of fact, he's the last cellie I've had. He's the last cellie I had the very last time I was in prison. When I paroled from Salinas Valley, he was my last cellie. He's the last person I ever interacted with in prison. Dillinger from Drifters, right? West LA, on that level 4 180, Salinas Valley, right? He landed in Salinas Valley because he was tearing shit up in Arizona. Red Rock or some shit like that, right? So I kind of have an idea of what was going on out there, Oklahoma, Arizona, Mississippi, I believe. When they were transferring California inmates out that way, right? So they had the red and blue team, when they landed out there, they had to establish their tables, and they had to establish the get down, right? So if I'm not mistaken, Renegade Media was part of that group of Northerners that went out there and had to lay the law down for that side, right? For that team. But as far as his California career, doing time in California prisons, I don't know about that, man. I don't know where he's done time at. I don't want to say that when a man has reached those levels of success within that world, you wouldn't carry yourself like how he carries himself on this YouTube stuff, right? Because like I said before, he's a young guy still. He's still young. What is he? He's in his 30s? Or if he's early 40s, I don't know. He's still young. So how long could he have possibly have ran for when he locked it up? It's clear as day he locked it up, right? So, because he was scared to death, And there's very few that take their licks and then go. Most people let the police know that their life's in danger before they get their licks in. You know what I'm saying? But as far as him labeling himself as a shot caller for that, he might have been a shot caller for a unit, right? Before end of hostilities, because I don't know if he's been in prison with on a level 4 after they let them dudes out of the back, out of Pelican Bay and Corcoran. I don't think he was in prison with any of them dudes. I could be wrong. Y'all correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong about what I'm saying, because like I said before, I don't know his whole background. Like I said, I've watched his channel on a few occasions, then I left a few comments. But after hearing so much of it, and a lot of bullshit start coming out, then it's like, come on, man. I'm tired of the bullshit, man. Because, he's done a lot of dirt, I'm sure. I'm sure he's done some dirt. I done did a gang of dirt, man. I done did so much dirt. I done did dirt that you would have rolled it up or pieced it up if you had done that type of dirt that I done did, man. I went against the grain a few times, right? And, thank God I'm still here, man. I'm free. I'm a free man. I beat life. I'm home. I'm glad I didn't catch a life sentence while I was up in that motherfucker, because I've came this close to not coming home. But that's a story for another day, right? So I just wanted to talk about that. I just like if somebody, a person, an unknown person gets on YouTube and the channel labels him to be a shot caller for that particular faction, and he wasn't one. Oh man, you know what that's gonna deem, right? It's gonna be some issues. It's gonna be problems, right? But because 59J already has problems, that little shit don't mean nothing to him no more. To him, he's loving every minute of that, right? Because like I said before, that's gonna boost his channel a little bit. Because now the people that don't know are really gonna believe that he was a shot caller for the red team, right? Boy, hey, look, some people just know how to work this shit, man. Because this is all about getting money. But not all money's good money, man. Like, that money, which I don't think he got paid. Just being on there is more than enough, right? Because a lot of these big platforms, they will cash you out to get on their show, right? But just getting on these bigger channels is more than enough. Like, I've been on a few channels. Like, I was on Fresh Out series with Big Herc. I should have waited. Had I got on there today, it's a different story. I got on there at the beginning of before my numbers were kind of up, and that's not a good thing, man. We're so in a rush to try to get on these other platforms, and that at the end of the day, if you don't play it correctly, it might fuck you up, right? So, and like I said, I haven't got on these other platforms yet. I mean, I've been invited to a few different platforms, and I know how to get myself on a bunch of these other platforms, but I'm not working on that right now because I got some other shit I'm invested in right now. But we're gonna get to all that, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, with that being said, man, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to both factions, red and blue team, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the paisanos, all the border brothers, man, from the town, man, from Oakland, California, todos los de la frontera, Sonora, Juárez, Tijuana, Chicali, Guatemala, El Salvador, El DF, Jalisco, all that, man. You know what I'm saying? I got people all through there, right? My boy Spooky's over there in Jalisco. My boy Tiny's over there in Colima. My boy Scooby's over there in Tijuana. My boy Negro's out there. Both Negros, little and big Negros out there. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to talk about where they're at, man, because they might be wanted for some shit, man, and I'm telling them where they at, man. Man, you already know what the fuck it is, man. John Diesel, man, 3900 zone, man, I'm gone.